I would like to invite Ms. Shivani Sharma, Dr. Jyoti Jain Tholia, and Dr. Mohammad Firoz to the stage, please. Come. Please have a seat. Okay, this uh, time of the day, I'm sure everyone has enjoyed a good lunch, and it's a little difficult to keep your eyes open post lunch. But anyways, it's an interesting track named as Innovations in the Urban Realm. Innovations in the urban realm looks at how new ideas and technologies are changing cities and urban spaces. As cities grow and face problems like overcrowding, pollution, and pressure on infrastructure, innovative solutions are needed. Technologies like smart city systems powered by things like the Internet of Things and AI are helping manage resources, improve transportation, and make public services more efficient. Green solutions like vertical gardens and renewable energy help reduce the environmental impact. Urban design is also becoming more inclusive, ensuring that all people have access to spaces that meet their needs. This theme explores how architects, city planners, and engineers are combining technology, sustainability, and people-centered designs to build cities that are not only practical but also livable, resilient, and ready for the future. With this, probably the first presentation, for the first presentation, we would like to invite architect Shivani Sharma. She'll be presenting on the conservation efforts at, through a case of Markanda Temple in Gadchiroli, Maharashtra. A few things about Ms. Shivani Sharma, who is an experienced, conservation architect with a decade of expertise in preserving and restoring historic and cultural landmarks. Her career seamlessly integrates academic knowledge with practical experience, making significant contributions to architectural conservation. With 2 years on-site experience at the Archaeological Survey of India, she played a pivotal role in the meticulous restoration of the Markanda Temple in Gadchiroli, showcasing a deep understanding of historical architecture. Beyond restoration work, Shivani has been instrumental in promoting heritage awareness as a heritage walk leader with Orange Odyssey. She actively engaged with local communities. Now as a curator at Gondwana Collective, she continues to champion the region's cultural heritage. Currently, she contributes her expertise as a partner and principal architect to Collective Praxis Studio at Nagpur, which bridges heritage conservation with contemporary architectural practice. So, may I call upon Ms. Shivani Sharma? Okay, there you go.
Thank you so much, sir. A very good afternoon, rather a very good morning to everyone. After such a heavy lunch, I hope we don't bore you with our presentations and it develops a nice inquisitiveness towards the topic which we are discussing. Uh, I am conservation architect Shivani Sharma, born and brought up in Nagpur. Today I am going to tell you my story through a project which is very close to my heart and the project which shaped me as an architect and more as a conservation architect. So the image which you can see on screen is of the Markanda temple, which is located in Gadchiroli district of Maharashtra. Now, where is this site located? If you can see here, just a second. Yeah. So here is Gadchiroli, exactly opposite to where we are sitting today. And in Gadchiroli there is a river named Vainganga. So now this temple has a very particular location where it is presently seen. It is located where the river takes a turn in northward direction. So it is flowing from south to north, and then again it takes a turn from south to north direction. At that particular point where the river is taking turn there is a beautiful temple complex located, which is known as the Markanda temple complex. Now in Indian culture, majorly our spiritual sites are located at the points of geographical uniqueness. So this phenomena, where generally a river is flowing from north to south and it is taking a turn in north direction, that particular location has a lot of geographical uniqueness, and that is why the temple is built there. Now this is the temple complex which you can see on the screen. Yeah, this is the plan of the overall temple complex. Now this is the huge temple which you see here on screen. This is the temple in 2017. So now the story is about this temple which is there in the temple complex and what has happened to it over the years. Now as a student like you, when I completed my architecture, I joined the course of architectural conservation at SPA Bhopal. Knowingly, unknowingly, I got to this site and this was my thesis topic, and I had to prepare conservation strategies for the temple complex. So you can see me standing on the temple, and ahead I'll tell you that why is it in that particular situation. Again, documenting the site, working on it as a student. Completed the thesis with flying colors, then became a conservation architect. Now this is the image of the temple. It is a drawing which shows that what could have been the actual form of the temple originally. So this we are talking about how it was originally built. So this was the end analysis of my thesis. Now after my thesis and the post-graduation, I joined the same project with Archaeological Survey of India as a project architect. So fortunately, I was a part of the same temple where it was going to be restored again back to its original state, through the process of conservation or restoration, as we can say. Now we'll go behind. This is the chronology of the temple. So now the temple complex or the temple is said to have built in 8th to 9th century. The 1904, this is the earliest record of the image of the temple, that how it would have been existed. There is no painting, no image, no photograph that how the original temple would have been. Now it is said that in the written records, it is said that the temple might have fallen because of lightning that had happened in 17th century. Now in 2016, in between 1904 and 2016, there were repairs done by Britishers when pre-independence and by ASI post-independence, Archaeological Survey of India. In 2017, this temple was dismantled till its plinth level, as we can say in general terminology, because of the lightning effect, the major beams of the temple had damaged because of the lightning that had happened in 17th century. The thesis which I worked upon was to understand that what would have been the original form of the Shikhara on the basis of Samarangan Sutradhar. Now what is Samarangan Sutradhar? Samarangan Sutradhar is a treatise written by King Bhoj of Parmara dynasty in 11th century. Now what he had done, he had written different shlokas to mention that how temples used to be built during those time period. जैसे आज हमारा guidelines होती हैं, DCR guidelines होती हैं that how building is to be built, Samarangan Sutradhar is a book that used to tell about how cities used to be planned, how temples used to be built. So that was the basis. Now a researcher known as Adam Hardy translated those Sanskrit shlokas into graphical drawings. Out of those hundreds of drawings, Markanda temple could categorize into one kind of plan which was called as a Nisada plan, which you can see here. On applying the theory of a Nisada plan on Markanda temple, it exactly fitted on the Garbhagriha or the plan of the temple complex. So the research that started in during the thesis journey of post-graduation continued as a project architect. I proposed the same idea to Archaeological Survey of India, that when we are restoring the temple, it had to be built in its original glory to its original height. Now, because in the image which you can see here, the temple is abruptly repaired to wherever it had fallen. You can compare between these two images. Now, Nisada plan says that if you divide a square, a Garbhagriha plan is divided into 10 by 10 parts. 2 parts would be the thickness of the wall and 6 by 6 would be the Garbhagriha inner portion. So the same came out as an analysis of the Markanda temple, and then it was analyzed that it is a Nisada type plan of temple. With this theory, it was analyzed that, okay, in the overall temple form, the radius of curvature of the Shikhara is 4.5 times the width of the base of the Shikhara. Applying the same theory, we got, as in the end product of the thesis, came to the actual height of the temple which should have been originally. Now this is what the theory says, because there is no record, there is no photograph, there is no image, there is no painting, nothing. Okay. Now this was the analysis of the theory of Samarangan Sutradhar. Now when I was appointed as a project architect, the most important challenge was this. The temple was dismantled before I was joined as a conservation architect, and there were just stone fragments lying down in the site which were to be identified and placed back to their original position. There were simple numbering like NF4, EO8, SD21, numbered by the laborers who had dismantled the temple. Now N is north direction, F is the sequence of the layer, and 21 would be the clockwise or anti-clockwise numbering given to the temple. Again, here you can see this is a close-up of the Shikhara which was brought down for repair. You can see that it is very abruptly repaired, just using the stone fragments as a building material but not identifying that where did they actually belong. Then I prepared drawings like this, identifying the stone fragments, and few drawings like this, that which stone belong where. A rigorous process of 2 years we followed to complete 9 layers of conservation of the temple from in the 2 years. I used to prepare post-construction drawing of each layer once it was done. Few stone fragments which were missing were carved out with the help of our now generally if you see the masons who are working on site, they used to prepare a metal steel firma with some punctures and then trace the thing on the new material. Now we tried and used AutoCAD drawings to trace the original thing, and then we used to trace it on stone, and then the mason used to carve it. These are few drawings related to it. Now another part of the story begins here. Now the temple Shikhara had fallen because of lightning, right? No, there now, apart from the stone fragments which were numbered with the letters N, F, E and whatever, there were 400 more fragments lying down all around the site of the Shikhara which had fallen in 17th century. So now those fragments had to be identified and to be reused in the process of the reconstruction of the Shikhara. So we took up the task of documenting these fragments, and then the project kind of paused in 2019, where 10 layers of Shikhara could be completed. Now you can see the before after images of 2 years, that where did we start and where did we finish by the end of 2019. Now the project began again this year in 2024, March 2024, and then again the question came back that now we have to start the restoration of the Shikhara. What should be the height? How many layers should we have to go up in order to, do we really have to restore the actual Shikhara of the temple, or we just need to just place back to the height jahan tak humne temple ko dismantle kiya. Again came Samarangan Sutradhar, and also there came Vastu Manjiri. This was the analysis of Samarangan Sutradhar, and again there were some parameters which could be found out from ancient texts, which was Vastu Manjiri. The another method which we tried and followed was study and comparison with other temples on site. Now, meanwhile, in these years when the project stopped and it began in 2024, there was another interesting project waiting for me to be part of, fortunately, was a project of area development of Markanda village, where it had to be developed as a place of pilgrim and tourist destination. So during this project, we used drone and LiDAR technique in order to document the temple complex, and then analysis of the same was used to study and compare the temple on the site. So it was the product of some other project or some other part of the overall project, but it helped in restoration of the Shikhara, and we'll see how. This is the main temple. These are the scans of the other temples on the site. These are other images. Now, how did this help? Now, this is the photograph which was available before the temple was dismantled, before 2016. Now here we can see that how could have been the form of the Shikhara of the temple. This seems to be an abrupt ending to the roof of the Shikhara, and this is Sukhanashika. Sukhanashika is basically the nose of the overall Shikhara, where the head is always above the nose, right? So this could not have been the original height of the temple Shikhara. Now, through the scans which I showed you, we try and analyze the ratio of base and height of the Shikhara with the help of those scans. So out of the 4 temples which belong to the same category of Markandeshwar shrine, these are the 4 temples, we tried and analyzed all 4 of them. And we found out that these 2 temples align with the kind of ratio and proportion to which the main shrine belonged to. We can again see it here. So this again, the result of this, the use of drone images, the scans which we did, gave the same result as the Samaranga and Sutradhar gave it to us in terms of identifying the Shikhara of the temple. So it was kind of a proofreading that had happened to the research that was done before. The third kind of method which was adopted was study and documentation of fallen fragments on the site, which I told you that there were almost 400 odd number of fragments that had fallen all over the site. So this is how the fragments were fallen all around the site. This is how we documented them and kind of prepared a drawing which will tell you 3 kinds of stone. The yellow ones are the one which were dismantled with the proper numbering, south, east, north, west, south. The blue ones are the one out of the 400 fragments that was identified, and then the red ones were completely missing. So there were 3 kinds of stone to be made in order to restore the temple Shikhara. This was further categorization of the Shikhara fragments depending upon the kind of patterns that it had. You can see here, type 1, type 2, type 3. So I tried and identified 24 type of Shikhara fragments, and then which belong to which layer. Again, some analysis and things like that. This is some site work that we are doing. Now, based on this analysis of the theory, site understanding, and the virtual help that we got from drone and LiDAR scanning, what we do on site is we lay down the next upcoming layer on ground to actually cross-check that which stone fragment belonged where, make the new ones, identify the old ones, and then prepare the complete layer on ground. You can see here. Here you can also see the iron clamps which could probably be the original joinery of the stone fragments. Now talking about, this was the overall journey. We are still in the process and we are on the 12th layer of the restoration of the Shikhara, which is the second phase work. This appears to me that how the temple would used to look before the restoration and what could have been the original height of the Shikhara. A way forward where AI can help us in conservation is a big opportunity coming ahead. Now, in terms of understanding the overall height and form of the temple Shikhara, there can be, because for analyzing the data, the prompt has to be perfectly there. AI cannot function individually. It is not there to replace things, but it is there to assist the actual data that is there on ground and what is there in books already. In terms of the intricate carving that are there in the stones that are used in the shikhara, where it can be used. The other aspects of legally protected heritage site in India is that this is the overall plan of the village where it is the other part of the project which we are working for the state government of Maharashtra. So in terms of when we are talking about legally protected monuments under ASI, we generally refer to protected area, prohibited area and regulated area. So there are different rules and regulations that are to be followed in these different zones. So now this can help in terms of organizing and creating initiatives that would align to the guidelines and initiatives with respect to heritage sites. Along with it, it can also help in terms of creating augmented reality and offering a contextual narrative with engagement without physical intrusion, which is the most important problem around heritage sites in India. So, yeah. So AI, again, to assist and not to replace, because now I feel after so much of research that I have done over maybe 6 years, including the ancient treatise, including the fragments on site, including drone imagery, LiDAR and everything, AI would help in terms of various other aspects as well as restoration of the temple, and I hope we continue to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shivani ma'am. That was an excellent presentation, and it almost looked like an ancient, sacred, three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle that you put together. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Next, we have is Dr. Jyoti Jain. She is presenting her presentation with the subject name GeoAI in the urban realm. Transforming cities through geospatial intelligence. Dr. Jyoti Jain Tolia is an associate professor at Marathwada Mitra Mandal's College of Architecture in Pune. She has over 18 years of professional and teaching experience working in the US and India in the field of geographical information sciences, urban planning, and architecture. She earned her PhD in geospatial sciences from Symbiosis International University, Pune, in the year 2022. Her master's degree in geography from Arizona State University, Tempe. Another master's degree in urban development and planning. And her bachelor's degree from Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology in Bhopal. Her research focuses on geospatial modeling, spatial data sciences, urban water sustainability, and urban resilience. She has authored numerous research articles in various peer-reviewed journals and presented at various national and international conferences, workshops, and seminars. She has also been active in providing GIS consultancy services, including urban, rural, and slum communities. Please, Dr. Jyoti Jain, we would be happy to, have you on the dais. Presentation. Okay, I'll shut this one down and this one, right? I'll open the PowerPoint.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Asif sir, for wonderful introduction. And I'm Dr. Jyoti Jain Tolia, going to talk about GeoAI in urban realm, transforming cities through AI and geospatial intelligence. So welcome to the journey where artificial intelligence meets geospatial intelligence for shaping the future of our cities. So the content of the presentation spans from why Geo AI matters to us, why we are going to discuss about this, the power of Geo AI, various pre-trained models available for us, and application of geospatial artificial intelligence in various fields in smart city planning, traffic optimization, disaster management, sustainability and green cities, and public safety. So to begin with, why Geo AI matters to us. So if you look into the figure over there, artificial intelligence has two main components, machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning, when we tell the computers that look into these patterns, we train the computer, look into the data, and once we train it, it can predict. Then deep learning is the subset of machine learning, which is a kind of human brain, which is neural network. So it detects the complex pattern from the data. So Geo AI comes when artificial intelligence intersects with the location intelligence. And here we have geospatial artificial intelligence. So why location intelligence matters to us, we need to understand first, then Geo AI. So everything is happening on the earth, and where things are happening is very important in our field, architecture and planning. So when we look, we want to know that it can answer our questions that where occurrence of events happening and why this occurrence of events are happening in that particular location. Another question can come to our mind, that how this interaction of different events, how the interaction of different events influencing the occurrence of different events in different location. So there is several questions which comes from geospatial intelligence. So our cities have very complex systems, right? Very interconnected and interdependent ecosystem. And it is rapidly changing, growing, evolving, and facing new challenges every day. So geospatial AI helps us, enables us to make data-driven decisions with real-world awareness. Geo AI accelerates real-world understanding, solve problems, quantify the risk, and find opportunity in a faster manner. So if you see that quote, I will read the quote by Mario Palma. He is the director and he has mentioned this in his book, Why INEHI. INEHI is the biggest statistics and mapping organization in Mexico. He says that lack of understanding of our reality is one of the greatest risks to our society that is we are facing. So our future depends on you generate that understanding and learn how to apply it and act accordingly, right? So here we see that every day, our cities are generating a vast amount of data through social media, through satellite imageries or sensors, right? Traffic sensors. And this big data has some hidden patterns, and human mind cannot analyze that hidden patterns alone. So Geo AI helps us automate this process using deep learning to extract, classify, and then detect crucial insights from that big data. So it is like giving cities a sixth sense, one that can predict change, detect irregularities, and make our urban spaces more efficient and intelligent. So these are the things that power of Geo AI, geospatial artificial intelligence. With that, we can do the change detection, we can extract the objects, features from the earth, it can convert even text into geospatial information, and it can detect the segmentation, edge detection, several things can be done with Geo AI. So to do that, there are several pre-trained models are available, and you can, to begin with, this is good for students also to explore how many pre-trained models are available. If you look into Esri website, Esri Living Atlas, you will get hundreds of pre-trained model over there, and which are really relevant in our field also, architecture and urban planning. And anybody is interested in conservation or urban heat island, any research if someone is doing, it can extract building footprints. Then land use land cover classification. In traditional method, we used to spend a lot of time doing this and digitizing the sample, telling the computer that, see, this is water, this is vegetation, this is barren land, and then model will predict accordingly. So this was supervised classification in traditional way. Now with AI, it's just a button click, and with unsupervised learning, machine learning, it will predict or it will do the land cover classification, which is the fundamental need in our field, architecture and planning. Now, not just Esri website, Living Atlas website, there are several other sources, Google Earth Engine, Microsoft Azure, Amazon, OpenAI and NASA. They have developed many pre-trained model which you can install and localize that as per your geographical location and use them for prediction, for further research. Now these pre-trained model, the beauty of these pre-trained model is they are scale independent. So they are, you can work with these models at any scale of human settlement, from small to bigger to the largest one at the regional level or the bigger one. So this is scale independent. Another thing is it's but they are versatile in nature. So you can use them at any other geographic location with some localized thing. You have to tweak the model little bit as per your data in that particular location. So it can, these pre-trained model are useful for any sector, whether it is state, local government, public safety, conservation, transportation, utility and natural resource management. So to begin with learning about that, how we can use this geospatial artificial intelligence in our field, at least start exploring these pre-trained model into your data. And then, so you don't need to have a very knowledge in programming or something. As a user, you start using this. Then so there are some application which I will be discussing, some of my projects as well, some of the case examples that I have found from Esri website. So the one, what we can do with making our cities more smarter and resilient. You can classify features from the imagery. So not just features, you can detect within the, if there are parcel boundaries, so within each boundaries, if you really want to label it, where is swimming pools, where is the green roof, or where is that you want to pull the solar panel, which household. So these you can label it within one parcel boundaries. So this is how we can do that, the potential of this geospatial AI. Also you can do the view shade analysis. So there are several new sites, construction is going on. So you can analyze that standing from that construction site and what will be the effect on the existing buildings over there. So that can also be done with the AI, geospatial AI. And then yes, high resolution land cover for impervious mapping. Also you can spot the parking detection. And another, this one I did when I was working in US, the urban growth prediction on US-Mexico border. So you can do the growth prediction under different scenarios. You can predict the growth, urban growth as business as usual. Another scenario you can plug in with anti-growth strategies, also maintaining the environmental, protecting environmental and maintaining the balanced development. Again, predict the model and see the scenario, what will be the growth pattern in 20 years from now. And then what happens if infrastructure development is there? So infrastructure or road network growth, you can say. So what will happen if any road layer comes at particular location, and then see the growth pattern, what will happen in 20 years. So like that, these are the projects you can do and make our cities more smarter than before. So predicting water supply distribution here in Pune, if you see, I wanted to check what are the patterns of water supply in Pune cities. So these are very, they are not equal, a very uneven water distribution. So GeoAI can do the hotspot analysis. It will tell where is the statistical concentration of water, so hotspot and cold spot. And then you see plug in the various variables like distance from the service reservoir, slope, population density, and many other variables, and then you see that how they are working in each location, not just one coefficient, but individual on each coefficient. It is called geographical weighted regression. So using that, you can predict that how the water distribution will be in the peripheral villages. Pune has recently added 34 villages in its boundary, and then you see that water is not reaching there, right, on the peripheral village. So you see that how the water will be doing, how we will be doing in terms of the water supply distribution in the peripheral villages. So again, the power of geospatial AI. And we see every day many challenges related to traffic and transportation. So optimization with GeoAI, you can predict that where will be the damage in the road or cracks detection. There are pre-trained model, they will detect the cracks in the road. It will, if you want to do railway asset detection, then you can do with GeoAI. Train the model to identify street signals. So another model is available. Also there are pre-trained model which will tell you that, see, there is a roadblock, and we keep seeing such thing now in our mobile also. When we are traveling, we see that, okay, congestion is there or something is going on, so detouring, we take the detouring. All this is happening because of the geospatial AI. Then you see the application in disaster management and climate resilience. Pretty much all, even in India, we are using the flood mapping, but it is not easily accessible to us here in our scenario. But in different countries, you see that flood mapping is available to every single citizens. They can see, they can plan, they can, think about the evacuation when this is happening. So flood mapping, this is the case example that I found. St. Louis, Missouri region, which had the flood in 2019. So they did the flooding mapping, detected the water pixel pre and post flooding, and then analyze it, and then predicted that what will happen in the future and how we can take action in the future. And then another case example where in the Grenada, they are susceptible to landslide due to high level of rainfall, steeper slopes, and various soil types. So government of Grenada updated its GIS model or building data set and identified the infrastructure in the area susceptible to landslide, and then taking action accordingly. Again, then hurricane happened. So after the hurricane, how many buildings got damaged? So for the insurance purpose or taxation purpose, AI can quickly find out that these are the buildings damaged, one affected due to the hurricane, and so immediate action need to be taken. And one more example, the fire mapping, fire burned areas. So easily it is available for the entire globe. So if you look into ASRI website, you will find, and there is MTBS measuring the trend, burn areas, burn severity. So on that portal, you can find these areas immediately mapped, that where are the burnt areas, and using this geospatial AI. Then again, we cannot ignore this geo AI for environmental sustainability and green spaces. We can uncover the secrets of our vegetation health, how we are doing with the power of AI. So here there are models available, pre-trained models available, where you can detect the these plants canopy, right? And then deep learning models can help you access the palm tree health in that case. But whatever vegetation you see or tree canopy, it will easily detect immediately how many trees are there, how they are doing in terms of the health, and then you can calculate easily with the button click. Earlier we used to prepare these layers in remote sensing in IRDAS. Imagine, plug in all these things, that okay, thermal band is there, so we need to read the thermal temperature, and then other layers which will detect the green. Here with the button, single button, that Landsat 8 is available, plug in the model, and they will detect the NDVI. They will give you that normal difference vegetation index, environmental, the enhanced vegetation index, and AI powered insights help us maintain the ecological balance within our cities. So the future of sustainability lies not just in policy, but in intelligent data-driven decisions. So, and that preserves our green spaces while accommodating urban extension or expansion. Another project I did in Toledo, Ohio, about the shooting incidents occurred in Toledo, where you just put these events, and then you cannot make out where to allocate these limited police resources to that particular location. So what it does, that you do the hotspot analysis and cold spot analysis, it will give you the cluster of, it is not just like the concentration of that event or density of that event. It's not like that. Behind this, it will calculate the statistically concentration of these pockets of hotspot and cold spot, and then accordingly, so algorithm calculates this, and then accordingly you allocate the limited police resource in that particular hotspot for crime analysis. So this is another thing we can use geospatial AI in crime mapping in the city. So in conclusion, Geo AI is not about replacing humans. You really need to understand this. We are not replacing humans. It is about enhancing our ability to think, plan, and act smarter.
Time limit.
Geo AI allows to focus on high impact innovation while machines handle tedious, repetitive tasks. So let the machine do this tedious and repetitive task, but human brain should do the innovation, intelligent work. Right? So cities of our future won't be defined by how much data they generate, but how well they use it. So the question to all of you, are we ready to harness its full potential? Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was pretty insightful. Getting to know how AI could be applied at, macro level and still bring about a lot of improvements in the built environment. Anyways, moving on to the next one, we have Dr. Mohammad Feroz. Dr. Mohammad Feroz currently works as the head of Department of Architecture and Planning at the National Institute of Technology, Calicut. He has 20 years of teaching, research, consulting, and administrative experience at the doctoral, postgraduate, and undergraduate level. Dr. Feroz graduated as a rank holder from the National Institute of Technology, Calicut. He completed his master's degree in urban planning from CEPT University and a PhD from IIT Kharagpur. Additionally, he has done a postgraduate diploma in environmental management and law from the National Law School, Delhi, and a certificate in environmental management from IISc, Bangalore. Dr. Firoz is also the chairperson of the Center for Climate Resilience and Disaster Management of NIT Calicut. Earlier, he had also served as a visiting faculty at the Department of Development Studies, Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok, Thailand, on deputation by Government of India, and at the Architecture Association School of Architecture, London, teaching in the Housing and Urbanism program. He is also a visiting research fellow at the Shinwatra University in Thailand. Dr. Firoz had multiple research and consulting projects for several government, non-government, private and multinational funding agencies. He is associated as a mentor and supporter for several startups, several universities as board member, and also in the editorial board of many reputed publishing houses. He has published 3 books with Springer, along with more than 50 papers in index journals and books. With high popularity among students for his teaching, he received the highest feedback scores for his taught courses both at NIT Calicut and at the AIT Bangkok. Can we have Professor Dr. Mohammad Firoz to take up the dais, please? Okay, there's something wrong with this. Just one moment. Now this one has become too heavy. Yeah, there's something wrong with the PC. Right, and we hit this. Okay, good to go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. The one at the last. Am I audible? Hello. Yeah. Sorry, I will not take more than 20 minutes. That's the allotted time. I know it's very difficult to give a presentation in the afternoon, that after a very tasty, heavy lunch. But then you have to bear with me. Okay, thank you. So, my topic, in fact, this is a small project we did for the Municipal Corporation of Kozhikode. So, I just thought of presenting, and to be very frank, when I was giving this title, I was not knowing it's too much of AI application, though I worked a little bit on climate change and things like that. I could have put that presentation. But I thought it will be more interesting for you guys to understand from the architecture background something on the concept of creative economy, which is totally new as a concept in India. Okay. So now let's look at what is meant by creative economy. Okay. So now, can we survive this world without books? Can we survive without music? Now I'm sure pretty in the back, all those people are sitting in the back, maybe we'll have some iPod or maybe playing some music or something like that, right? When the class is going on or otherwise. So we are so, no, you had a very good food, yummy food. No, basically, we have something on creativity which is there, even architecture for that matter. All our life we have something to do with creativity, right? In different domains. So now that gives the idea, in fact, the creativity is there in our livelihood and career. For many people around the world, leading to the concept of creative economy. That's a concept which is, of course, taking place. I'll tell you why government of India is also very keen on that particular concept. Now, creative economy is sometimes called as orange economy also. Okay, that's called as orange. I don't know why you call orange, but then it's called the orange economy. So you have different domains, right from the field of culture, for visual art, performing arts, heritage, museums, libraries, cultural industry like film, technology, broadcasting, gaming, music, publishing, interactive media, creative industries like design, architecture, photography, advertising, fashion, and so many other tourism-related activities into the domain of industry. Now, UNESCO has also identified, you know what, I don't need to talk about what is meant by UNESCO. UNESCO has also given high weightage for what is creative economy, and it found that more than 30 million people in the world has their livelihood on creative economy based occupation. In fact, it's actually widely studied that more than 150 countries participate in the 74th UN General Assembly and identified as one of the core areas where the world has to focus upon. And we have understood that creativity, most of us architects, designers, creativity do contribute to the economy and sustainable development. Okay. Now, if you look at this data, more than 3.1% of the global GDP of the world depends upon creative economy. Right? So now let's come to Mumbai. Now, the first thing, of course, it's a great city, big city. But the first thing which talks about Mumbai is nothing but Bollywood. Any person from Iran, Iraq, or Europe, you talk about, you're from India, the first thing is Bollywood. Because that is embedded into the economy of the city. Maybe the city is not directly getting direct benefit, but the whole country is getting a benefit of it, right? Now again, if you talk about Istanbul, of course, a lot of other aspects, but then some of the food habits are world popular. You talk about Bangkok, if you've been to Bangkok, the temples are the most popular. Again, if you go to the Caribbean islands, so they have something on creative system which is embedded into the economical aspect of the country, and that's what we talk about the creative economy of cities. Now, this kind of study, what I'm trying to focus, we have cities been, as urban planners, designers, we've been focusing upon traditional industries, manufacturing. No, this gone are the days. No, we have a country with literally big legacy of cultural aspects which we haven't hardly used for marketing. So there exists a great scope for creative economies in cities, because unlike the American model, we have a great heritage and history at least some 5,000 years before. Now that's what our Prime Minister Modi ji also talked about, the concept of creative economy. In fact, some of you heard about this G20 conclave which happened in Delhi. So the third priority, one of the third priority of the G20 conclave is basically promotion of cultural and creative industries and creative economy. That's the country advantage. The country focus is on creative economy. Now, what is exactly the creative economy in India? It is contributing to 8% of the GDP, and of course a market size of $36.82 billion dollar market. Okay, so Indian cities, we have literally look at our tradition, look at our culture, look at our what we have to offer to the world. How much of we are utilizing this potential to the benefit of the tourism for the society, community? We are not using it. So Indian cities need to document, brand and market their creative cities. For that matter, we have the concept of creative cities coming to picture. So UNESCO has identified 7 broad areas under the domain of creative cities. Okay, so what is that? Craft and arts and crafts, film, the media and arts, literature, design, gastronomy means food, and of course music. Right? So if you really look at the cities of the world, a huge focus of the cities, Europe doesn't have history like India. What is the history of Europe? What is the history of America? They don't have a history beyond 16th century, especially America, North America. Europe do have a slightly older history, but what do we have and what do they have? And look at where they are placed and look at where we are placed. In India, for Jaipur and Srinagar, art and craft, Varanasi, Chennai and Gwalior for music, Mumbai for film, Hyderabad for food, and of course Kozhikode, the case study which is going to talk about this for literature. These are the only 7 creative industries located in India, where there are thousands of other cities which have got multiple magnitude and potential in India and unfortunately unexplored. Now, this is the whole domain of creative industry, what we talk about, right from advertising, food, R&D, television, computer science, performing art, music, etc., fashion, design, craft, art, architecture, everything comes under the domain of creative industries. Now, the biggest threat which all of us are facing, most of the speakers before me also talk about now the problem of AI, right? So, a music tomorrow can be created. You don't need to be a creator from music. Somebody can create A. Rahman's equivalent music using AI tomorrow. We don't know, right? Architecture, the biggest threat people are facing, that we don't require architecture. It can be created by advertising. Every field has got a threat. So we have the content creation, product content, distributing, consuming content. All these areas we do have AI influence, and of course we have problems in advertisement, architecture, film. I was told that the future of films will be, there won't be Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan. There will be characters created by AI. We don't require physical people. We can have the same quality movie by artificial content creators, and then the movie will start. We don't require a brand. I don't need to pay them 100 or 200 crore for movies, right? So again, it has got impact on music and art forms, etc. Now, what next? This is going to be a problem. But then what we have is something different, the feel of experience. Now, if you go to Mumbai, if I'm here in Mumbai, the feel of being in Mumbai, I'm sure at least for the next 20 years, the feel of a tourist or the feel of what the city or the experiential learning what I do from the city, an AI cannot replace, at least for the next 20 years. So we need to identify such potential areas and promote tangible infrastructure and assets so that the city can be felt. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So we did a small case study. Before that, so we need to rebrand Indian cities based on cultural and creative industries. For example, the first diagram is talking about the architectural diversity of India. You don't need to talk to an architecture college how much diversity did we really brand for tourism? Somebody presented that before me about a temple, right? We don't even know, at least from the south, it is a rich, great asset, but we don't know. We haven't branded and marketed it. We have the diversity in our food culture. We have the diversity in our art forms. We have in our folklore music. That is experience. No AI can replace it. This creativity content is what we need to really focus in the era of creative or maybe AI influence. So we have done, I was fortunate enough to work on this case study, the India's first literature city for UNESCO tag. We did a project for the city of Kozhikode in Kerala, and in 2023 we got the UNESCO tag based on our work. So this is what you can see in the Asia's largest literature festival. We presented it, and of course Gwalior got for music and Kozhikode got it for the literature. And we could explain you little detail very quickly because of lack of time, how creative economy can be tangible and intangible assets can be tapped for economic development. So now we did 3 dimensions of study. One is on literature. You may be wondering how literature can be tagged for a city, can be branding for a city, how it can be used. No, of course, you've got a lot of literary assets. UNESCO tag is that we can create a brand for a city based on the way Mumbai has created for films. Why don't we do for literature? It do have a potential for gastronomy. It do have a huge potential for culture. Now, those who have seen the movie Kandara, it has got that Theyyam and Thira. It's a lot of influence of such temples are there in the city. So we can actually tap that assets and use it for the promotion of the branding of the city, and then attract tourism and create experiential learning and feel and then grow. Okay, that's what we are talking about. So now this is the city we're talking about. The city is also very famous of India's first colonial influence. Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese navigator, came to the city for the first time, and that's where the colonial influence, the British, came later. And of course, this is the methodology of our study. And what we did initially is basically, I'll be quickly rushing through the study. So we basically documented that does not exist a history. So we have to create a history of the city. So we created a timeline documentary of the entire literary assets, right from 10th century to the latest century as of today. And then we documented the personalities and their influence, and infrastructures were mapped. In an urban planning design perspective, we mapped the entire infrastructure because we have to develop this infrastructure in future. Heritage was mapped, and of course the literary heritage was mapped, and all these assets were mapped on a spatial map using GIS. So entire libraries, entire publishing house, entire infrastructure, entire literary assets, everything is spatially mapped. And interestingly, we found that one of the world's largest density of literature hub is in the city. Around 545 libraries in the city alone, and around 60 plus publishing house, which is probably the largest number in per capita population in the world. So that is the asset. And then of course the entire things were mapped, and of course the bookstores, publishing house, everything was mapped. And of course the accessibility, what is lacking where, how we can connect all these assets, how we can develop infrastructure to do all those things. So that's what the study went on further. We also mapped, because if you can see a lot of blank areas, because what we have to create is that there has to be activities throughout the year. We need to have activities throughout the certain months, there is no activity. So we have to find out so that it becomes active all the year round, okay? So now with this, we did case studies from different parts of the world, and then of course we come to some kind of conclusion, and we propose a few urban development projects, which includes, the first one is basically a museum. The city do have to have a literary museum. Is a cultural asset for the city. It gives a lot of intangible values for the heritage and all those things. People will come and see. There's a lot of value addition happening. So then we gave a lot of neighborhood level activities, including community resilience and activities. We also proposed a lot of houses, a lot of cafes. All those things can be converted as greeting space, eating space, interaction spaces related to discussion, related to literature can happen. And of course, a lot of other activities were proposed. And then cultural assets were, how we can mix cultural aspects with the literature. And of course, in the previous diagram, when I show, there are a lot of other activities which are missing in the March, April, May, June season. So how can we fill in activities? We have to fill in activities so that every time the city becomes dynamic, every time the city becomes active, 24/7, the city becomes active 365 days. So we have to create activities for the city so that city becomes more dynamic. Then we proposed the reading street. We have given that all these are going to happen for the city. An exclusive street designed for reading only. Lot of activities were 24. You can take books, you can go anywhere, you can read and come back and deposit here. Lot of innovative ideas. Traveling books will travel to your house rather than you going to the library. Then we have a lot of books at affordable programs. Then a lot of, this is a very interesting concept. Every city have civic infrastructure in the schools. They have libraries in the schools, but the schools close at 5 o'clock. The campus, for example, there's an open space in my campus. It is not accessible for the public. So we designed a system that the campus becomes openable for the old age people, for the public. They can come after the school hours. They come and sit there. The library will be open. They'll be open. They can read newspaper, and then they can interact in the space. After 9, it will be closed. So same infrastructure has got multiple usage. Okay, so these kind of things. And of course, we also propose children also. There's a lot of inclusiveness from children and youth. So how they can be brought in the realm. And of course, we propose, similar to a heritage walk, a literary walk coupled with food, coupled with civic infrastructure, designed and created. A storyboard is created, and accordingly things will be, spoken, and then you see, you eat, then you talk, then you sit, you eat, talk. Kind of a modus operandi we worked out. And then ultimately we create a lot of civic infrastructures at different parts of the city. And then of course we are creating, it's easy to give proposal, but who will do what? Where is the money coming from? Where is the funding coming from? Who will fund? Can CSR of a company can be incorporated into it? Such a modus operandi, the management plan, branding concept, website creation, everything we created with the mayor as the head of the department. We created an SPV for the city. And of course, ultimately what we got is the UNESCO recognition. Okay, I'm fortunate that I was one of the key person. We worked on the UNESCO. I went to the Edinburgh, I went to the Portugal for presenting the work. We got the final tag. And then the result follows. Now we have Asia's largest literature festival with 5 lakh people visiting. Look at the multiplier effect the city is going to. There are 3 literature festivals happening in the city in 3 seasons. 15 lakh people are coming to the city. Look at the amount of an auto rickshaw fellow is going to get. Look at the amount of a hotel fellow is going to get. Look at the amount of a chai wala is going to get. Look at the amount, the local economic development is getting created because of a single tag the city got, the literature festival alone. So multiple activities are bringing a lot of economic development into the city. So this is again the last year thing. This is where actually we want children also. We have proposed multiple school level activities where children also is given an opportunity. We also created something called as children parliament. Okay, the city corporation, there is a children mayor and the children deputy mayor and children councillors. Every ward is represented with one councillor, and they have to come and represent your ideas of the city. In your ward, you have to represent the mayor, and other people will sit there and listen to them. This is going to happen every 6 months. Okay, so look at the social inclusion. We are trying to work it out at the bottom level, and interestingly, it is inculcated in the budget of the city. So we have a very small city, unlike Mumbai. Our budget is only 1,000 crore. Here it will be 80,000, 1 lakh crore for Mumbai. Within small budget, we try to, because small intervention help us to put a lot of infrastructure penetration into the city, and of course a lot of other changes are happening, and the global recognition is further. Last week, we had a French embassy program where I was also the ambassador of France came. We had a twinning program with 2 cities in France. Look at the image building the city is going to create because of small activities. And the French embassy, we are twinning with the city of Lyon and Angoulême and the Kozhikode. Now a lot of young children who are into literature can travel to France. They can stay there for a few months. The literary magnates will train them, free of cost with the embassy of France. Such small intervention, fortunately, we could work out. And of course, we are also in the process of branding our city based on food. How food can be used to brand the city further. Work is going on. And of course, again, another layer we are creating called as the cultural assets. Why don't we map all the cultural assets at different grading level, and how do we tag the infrastructure and mix all these things together and create a brand value from culture plus food plus literature together? Can we create a brand value for the city? So accordingly, the present literature, culture, food projects are ongoing on, and work is going to rebrand the city from a global perspective. Calicut or Kozhikode is a very small city, tier 3 city. We cannot compete with Mumbai or Bhopal or big cities. But within our limit, we are trying our level best to brand our cities, because there are certain niche areas where we can really focus upon. And of course, we want to create us as a destination hub. We have the potential of being in Kerala, one of the largest tourist destinations. So can we club with the tourism and create a layer of cultural tourism and do that? Now we are also working on multiple job creation, community empowerment of people, children, everything into the layer. And of course, as the master plan is to be created by integrating all the spatial plans at the city level and the design proposals accordingly. And our optimistic is that by 2030, it's wrong, 20230, 2030, the city will be able to create a brand and identity nationally and globally by enhancing its creative economy, thus fostering a sustainable development for the future. Thank you for listening to me. This is my number. You can contact me in case of any further collaboration. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Firoz. That was really energetic and very engaging as well. I would probably open this session for the students to pose any questions to them. Any questions from the students or the faculties? Yeah.
check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
Hello. First of all, thank you for wonderful presentation, all three panelists. Now this question is for both Ms. Sharma and Jyoti. Okay, so now you have shown me the pre-trained model of Geo AI, and where you are showing that pre-trained model can detect the trees, etc., etc. Now whether you have this kind of pre-trained model to identify the heritage structure. For example, if image is there of any city and a pre-trained model can identify, okay, this is the say Orissa style of architecture, or this is I'll say Nagra style of architecture. That kind of Geo AI models are there because you people are working on. So maybe you can answer that.
Ma'am, so at first place, yes, object detection models are there and multi-level features. That model
Check,
is also
check,
available,
check,
so
check,
you will
check.
have to tell the model that, see,
Check,
this is
check,
this,
check,
this is what, this is
check.
roof, or this is shikra, and this is, once you train the model, it can predict that, okay, Madras style will be like this, Chennai or Kerala style will be like this, southern, any other cities. So yes, those models are available. We can use them.
To train them a bit.
Yes, ma'am. Whatever work I had been trying to do, because there has been lot of research work also gone into understanding the Nagara shrine, because the temple I was talking about was mainly had a lot of North Indian influences. However, AI today needs now, according to my research, in terms of heritage and reconstruction of lost reliefs or maybe artifacts or maybe architecture, there are only 2 to 3 examples overall or around the world where it has been applicable. Where I have found out one in Borobudur and one a Buddhist bas relief with which they are trying to recreate from the broken ones. So according to my understanding, now AI has not completely covered up that area where you can just with few prompts get the kind of architectural style, but it requires maybe 60% of our feeding, and then maybe it will help us to enhance to maybe to 80% or 85%. That's what I feel.
Okay, thank you. One thing I would want to mention is, maybe for the students, sometimes this idea of the, urban realm, sometimes it's difficult, it definitely gets complicated, and it's difficult to comprehend, that how do we deal with it, or, what is our role. Can we, we've seen a temple being restored, and a very micro level analysis of each piece of stone to a city, where a huge amount of intangible, you can say, legacy would be left behind. Can we discuss the role of an architect, whether it diminishes? Because typically the students are trained. That's how the conventional, you can say, program is, wherein we are trained to look at a building elements, building blocks, and it's very difficult to kind of relate to the larger urban realm as such.
Here I would have my submission as mentioned by Firoz sir in his presentation initially, that humans strive for creativity, right? And human intelligence can never be replaced by artificial intelligence. That's what I feel. And whatever kind of intervention AI is, I feel it is better, it is for our better, for polishing the already work that is being done. Maybe it will help us improvise in the fields. In heritage, again I would mention that in cultural heritage, the applications of AI are still very less, maybe very less. If I can count them on my fingertips. Now, in terms of in terms of data analysis, in terms of quantitative data analysis, maybe AI is very helpful today. But in terms of qualitative analysis, it still has a long way to go, I feel.
Okay, looks like there's one more question from.
So my question is for Jyoti ma'am.
Can you speak a little louder? I cannot hear you here.
My question is for Jyoti ma'am. So with so many data leaks happening around the world, how do we make sure that the spatial
check.
mapping and the open data set and spatial maps can be secure so that no one can hamper the data or use it to create man-made hazards?
Can you repeat? We couldn't hear you. Can you be a little louder if you don't mind?
My question is, when we have so many data leaks happening around the world, how do these open data sets and spatial maps can be made secure so that no one can hamper the data or use it to create man-made hazards?
How do you secure the data? You know, data collected at a global level. What is the kind of security?
That is the biggest challenge actually. Data security is a challenge. Plenty of data is available, but you have to make sure it is secure. There are several crimes also, cyber security crimes related to data. So whenever you are accessing any data, it should be, you have to check the validity of the data from the government portal. So from government website for your research work, you take that data, not from any, like from Google it and then you get the data. No, so always prefer the government website. We are like, there are plenty of data in India as well. However, we have, if you talk about the geospatial data, then we can see, look into the portal and then analyze on the portal itself. So we don't have, that's the limitation. We cannot download those layers and use those layers for the further research work. But for your research work, if you are interested, then you need to get the permission from that department and write the letter and then use that data. So that is thing. Yeah, but data security is a challenge.
Thank you, ma'am.
Asif as sites. How skilled are they, and what is the construction techniques? Are they, skilled, or is there a training for them? Just curious.
In terms of how we are working on site, majorly the people who are working on site, they are coming from Rajasthan. So they are skilled labor who know how to work on stone. So they know that how they have to get the stone from a nearby quarry and then how to get them in perfectly square sizes. Now what I have learned in this 5 to 6 years that the earlier masons were way too smarter than the ones who are working today. For example, if I have this stone fragment, so the person then used to only carve or maybe dress the surface which are only visible. Majorly the 7 sides of it. The rest he won't do it because he knows it is not going to be visible and that would work as a through stone in order to bind the overall stone fragments. Today this has to be understood by people maybe like architect or engineer or who is working on site or a supervisor, and then enhance their working capacity. They know a lot of things. They know how to work on stone, but according to traditional building techniques, we have to be involved as a researcher or maybe a conservation architect to channelize their energy. So that has to be there on site. In terms of the construction technique that is being used, we are following the technique into which originally the temple was built. It was a 3-leaf masonry. So basically there is an outer stone which you can see from outside, whether it is a plain stone or it is, maybe there is a sculpture on it, something like that. Or maybe a carving or a molding. Then comes the innermost layer which is in ashlar masonry, like a general masonry that today also we construct. And the core masonry is the residue of both these stone which are dressed and with lime mortar. So basically these two stones are placed, clamped with iron clamps initially, now we are using stainless steel clamps. And once these two layers are at their position, then the center core would be filled. Now in terms of how the temple is standing, majorly it is standing on gravity, that is a load bearing structure. And the thickness is almost 1.2 to 1.5 meters, thickness of the wall, including all the three masonries. In between the immediate layers, we generally use through stones. So wherever we want to use new stone fragments, so we try to make it through and through to at least two layers, so that they help more in binding and keeping it in place. Otherwise the clamps just act as today's staplers. So basically they are just joining the stones which are laterally placed, otherwise it is standing on the gravity. Yeah, thank you.
Aja sir.
Good evening all, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, rather than asking a question, I want your opinion on this, okay? We have encountered a lot of situations where AI, more than help, it has appeared to be a disaster. A lot of people, which we don't know, have been trapped into it, and a lot of people have suffered a lot from it. So rather than we receiving a lot of help on implementation of AI on multiple segments, people have suffered a lot from AI. This is my opinion, I may be wrong, but I would want your opinion on this. Second, that's a negative impact on the society. The second question is, how do you feel that the implementation of AI is going to impact on the lower education, means the weaker section of the society? If AI is going to be implemented on a very larger scale, then how do you feel that the lower section of the society will be educated more about this, so that they also become a part of this? Okay, if this is going to be catered to only the upper layer of the society, then what happens to the lower society? If everything is dependent on AI, then what about the skills that we are going to lose over a period of time? That is my question.
Very good question actually. And then in my last slide that we said, I said that AI, we are not replacing the human intelligence. We are not replacing the humans, right? We are only, it is enhancing the human intelligence. We want to involve humans in the innovative work and let the machine do the tedious work, right? Now you are saying that how it is going and people are trapped in AI. It may be when you don't have the direct inquiry, that when you have your inquiry, you want to conduct some research, then your aim is fixed, what method, what data you need, you are looking on that and analyzing that data and then finding the results out of that, right? So you have, one thing is clear, then fine. If you don't have any, and then looking into ocean of data, plenty of data, you will definitely get trapped into AI. People will be suffered with that. So much information available on net, but what to read, what to use, that is very important, and again human intelligence is needed over there. Now the other segment of the society, as you are saying, that what will happen to them? See that this is AI, but then look into the WhatsApp or all this thing, or we are making the payment using the scanner code, even you go everywhere, any sector of the of our cities in India, everyone is using this smartphone, and then later on soon, gradually, without any, formal education, people will be used to. See the 10 years down the line, everyone will be using, and you won't realize that this is AI. It is just inbuilt, it is hidden, what AI is doing, but then it will be there in everyone's life. You see that.
Available with the government, but most of our Indian cities and the development that we are seeing, the pressures are because of the informality that is embedded, and a lot of data related to informality is not there, or rather it's very difficult to generate that set of data as well. So what are the key variables that we can have within the within various prompts or within various, AI bots that would be helpful to generate, even a base level data for basic informality or to study basic informality in the cities.
You mean generating the data for informal sector? This is what, because your voice is not much clear, but
Yeah,
this
generating data for informality.
So a lot of funding, when I moved back from US, I was doing, the data was readily available and then use that data for analysis purpose. So that was the scenario over there. When I moved here, my first project was Utthan project. It is mapping the slum pockets in Pune city for the entire city. It was the PMC funded, Pune Municipal Corporation funded project, and there were several NGOs and they put me on board like for the consultancy. So every single unit was digitized for the informal sector in Pune, not just that mapping thing, the analysis thing. So how the fund is getting allocated, number of beneficiaries in which area, it was so rich that I was so impressed with the data, the outcome of that project, Utthan project. Then another project, again it was again for the informal sector, Samruddhi project. So the data is there, and then we submitted to the PMC. The sad part is they put it in the portal, everyone could access that, oh, these many people were the beneficiaries out of this, and the money that got, the allocation of that money went in the right place. However, then after some time, the data is not there on the portal. So data is there but not accessible to the public. That is the limitation for us. Otherwise, we are doing good. I mean, yes, of course, if you compare, then we are behind. Otherwise, we are generating the data but not keeping it accessible to us for the research work. Yeah, I hope I answered your question because I couldn't hear the complete.
No, that's what I was looking at. Another question is to Feroz sir, where he was talking about creative industries. So one of the projects, like you've done City of Kozhikode as the creative city of literature. There's another project that was pitched somewhere in 2015, 2016 by local people of, Allahabad, Prayagraj now to put that city as the city of literature, specifically for Hindi literature. But over the course of time, we have seen that because of the decline in the readership and the viewership, though it's a it's a state which is pan-Hindi state coming out, we have seen a sharp decline in the readership and the viewership. Now, based on that, is it possible to use AI to create repositories, to create these digital archives where, some of the best literary works can be put across? Because in recent times, we have some of the best libraries in Mumbai also. But I was there to fetch a book of Prem Chand, which is, Seva Sadan, one of the best works written on urban planning. If somebody has to understand urban planning, it's one of the best books in fiction. But there's no copy available in a city like Mumbai. So do you think AI has the potential to create such repositories where not just literature or our literary documents, but a large set of intangible cultural heritage can be preserved and can be then, taken ahead? And what are the challenges in documenting these on site?
I partially got a question, but not fully because it's still not audible, but I understood the essence of a question. It's interesting to know that Allahabad has tried for the city of literature. I'll come to the first part and then I'll come to the AI component later. See, there are large, I told now, India is a country where we are so underestimating our creative talent and what we really have. Okay. So we haven't really marketed it, branded it, and potentially studied it. We haven't even documented it, what we really have. So now, this question, when we got City of Literature award tag from UNESCO, this question was asked why Calcutta did not get through. Because they did not apply for it, they did not try for it. That's the answer. Similarly, Allahabad definitely will have more potential than Kozhikode. There's no doubt about it. But there is something called as a group of people has to work for it. you will be surprised, our city mayor has sat 51 meetings only for this. 51 meetings were held with the mayor alone. Certain meetings started at 8 o'clock in the night to 1 o'clock in the morning. So it is actually when you try your level best and when you put, because Kerala does not even have a single MP or MLA for BJP. BJP is ruling the state. The government of India has to recommend it to UNESCO. So we created such a system that, everybody are into place. Those who want to, to see and they're seen properly, they are, they put in the advisory. And then we did a good game, and then we did a good documentation, and we go through. So Allahabad do have a potential, there's no doubt about it. Kolkata do have a potential. Multiple cities in India has got multiple potentials which they have to tap it. That's the very purpose of my presentation. Just not because the Calicut or Kozhikode is a great city, it's only an average city. There are thousands of potential cities much better than that. Now coming to your the second part of the question, I understand that the concept of AI and digital documentation protection, that is definitely required. We have at least lot of Kozhikode city has got a history of literature culture from 14th century. So we have documentary evidences. We have taken this writing on the paper, not paper, that on animal skins. All those things, we are trying to create an archive. So see, the problem is that there has to be a lot of good people, intellectually contributing people, and money has to come. So all this AI content, digital archives creation, so that is why we propose a museum. So a miniature museum is established. All those things are tried to put from different people, collected and kept in picture. Digital archive is going on. The second part of our study is basically assessing all the cultural assets and dating the history of the culture. Wherever we go to the particular temple or a art form performance areas and all, we create a flag and create the QR code, and then the whole history, scan it, will come to it. Then the whatever is protected and preserved, we are trying to collect back and create an archive. So that is required, but the problem what we are facing right now is funding. So now we have found a new way. How can we use our CSR? See, there in India, believe my friend, there is no lack of money. The only thing is that you have to convince the corporate or kind of people, because if you have, I think for 1 crore of profit or something like that, 1 lakh rupees, some percentage of CSR they have to give. Cities of India, there are a lot of people who can actually pay CSR money. They have CSR corpus fund. They can use it. We are trying that level best to collect that money and create it, and that will be named in their name. For example, Malabar Gold is the largest jewelry brand based in the city. We ask them, we will name in your name. The archive or the library or museum will be named in your name, and you fund it through CSR. So that activities, what you said is right, it is in the initial stage. Data collection itself is not completed. Comprehension is not completed, but we are going to have a documentation and digital archive creation for sure. All cities can have that, not just our city.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. There's one more question.
My question is also for Dr. Mohammad Firoz in continuation to what Daksh just asked. It was very fascinating to see the entire process of how that the city got the Creative Cities for Literature tag. My question is, was it a citizen-led movement which was then taken to the local government, or did it emerge from the government bodies? If yes, then what was the kind of response of the everyday man on the street to something like this? Are people aware, and what do they have to say about it? And one more question, how much time did this entire thing take from end to end to get the tag?
How do you gather the momentum?
Hello. It is a citizen-led movement. I'll tell you, interestingly, as academicians, we underestimate the potential of academics. I'm telling you. This is done as a studio project. You won't believe. This is not a consultancy project. This is an academic studio project. We did it for 1 semester with only 4 students. Only 4 students. Exhaustive documentation. Initially, we studied for 4 dimensions: culture, food, literature, health and education. 4 layers, 16 students. This interestingly, the 4 people who work for these 4 students, postgraduate students, none of them know Malayalam. Non-Malayalis only. So they don't know the local language also. So this was initially pitched as an academic idea. So then we got this idea and we presented it to the city mayor. She is a very intellectual lady. She has got a doctorate. So she can understand the significance of academics. She immediately called the council, present in front of the council. So we presented it, all these 4 studies in 20 minutes presentation. And then council decided, means the city council decided from representatives of every ward, they decided that we will go for literature. Because we have potential for food also. So then they said, okay, we will go for it. Then a steering committee was formed with 100 members. There were people from auto rickshaw drivers. There were people from household. There were doctors. The core steering committee, 12 members. One was a doctor. And there is a blind person. That's what I'm telling you, is inclusive. Because why we included the blind person, because there is a blind library. When we put it in UNESCO, one of the key point of thrust was actually India is probably one of the finest blind libraries located in our city. Only blind library. So these are unique selling points. Now there is a doctors, IMA, Indian Medical Association has a publishing wing. Doctors are writing. So that also we focus, because it's just surgeons are writing. There's a blog, they convert as a book. So these are USPs. So we had people, and interestingly, out of the core people, 3 or 4 were architects. So architects, people ask, what has architecture to do with the literature? We create infrastructure, we create ideas, and that can be sold, right? So that is the point number 1. It is definitely, and kids were also in the committee. So there's a 12-member committee, and we worked for almost 1.5 years. 6 months for the studio, 1 year for the whole documentation. And it was interestingly, the bid document was done by master student. One of my master students did the bid document. I supervised it. And it was a student-led project. That also with 0 cost. There is no money involved in this project. The only money involved was actually tea and coffee we had when we had meeting at the mayor house. That's only money which involved. And what is the second part of the question she asked?
Time which you said 1.5 years.
It was covered. I think you covered it, right? No,
so academicians do have, we have lot of ideas. We know, and interestingly, now this February we are pitching Kochi city also for city of design. That is also UNESCO tag. So our aim is that all 6 cities of Kerala will have 6 tags. For example, Trivandrum, city of peace; Kollam, city of biodiversity; Kochi, city of design; Calicut, city of literature; Kannur, city of folklore arts; Talasheri, city of food. The 6 ideas, because that will be clubbed to tourism. So we have the Kerala tourism will take over it, because we want a UNESCO tag. Then in the Google search everywhere this will come. Then using that tag, we can brand the city, we can create that as a unique selling point for the city and develop the city. So that is one of our agenda. Maybe in 2030-40 we will have all the 6 cities of the city. So tourism department is also found interested. We also found very interesting, there is something called intangible heritage and tangible heritage UNESCO tagging. Because UNESCO doesn't give any money for all those things. UNESCO simply gives you a tag. You have to document as architect. You have a lot of role in documenting it. You have a lot of role in marketing and branding it and presenting it and giving a tag. Once a UNESCO tag comes, the rest will follow. Funding will follow automatically. Because if a UNESCO tag city is going to come, CSR funding will follow. So this is the multiplier effect what I'm going to talk about.
Does UNESCO, will they fund the museum or the library?
No, they will not give a single money. They actually, you can use the UNESCO logo, you can UNESCO tag. See, you don't, that's what I'm saying, there is no dearth of money in India. You have to show what your city have. So global recognition already got. UNESCO has recognized it. Then other people will recognize you. You see, the same city before UNESCO recognition, there is no value. The day UNESCO recognizes it, become a different value. So that tag has got a value. Right? The same student, if he's from an IIT Bombay, there is a value. The same PhD done in some other college, there is no, people doesn't recognize it. So the tag do have a value. So we are trying to create a tag. Then the funding will follow. Then people recognize you. Then automatically things grow. So that's what simple effort we are trying to do.
Thank you. I'm glad I asked this question. Now we are feeling very empowered to do things. In
Small cities of India, let's talk Kolhapur, I'm just saying, I don't know. It do have a potential. We have to identify what it has, then develop it, tag it, brand it, then create infrastructure for that, then other purpose, you create layers of infrastructure for that, automatically the development will happen.
Superb. That does give us a lot of confidence. It instills a lot of confidence in, what we've been trying to do. And maybe we could do it with a lot more enthusiasm going further. Any more questions, or should we?
This question is for Dr. Feroz.
I think this would be the last question that we would be able to take, please.
So, in the Kozhikode project, you have designed a lot of open programs, like that reading street and the school that would going to be open after 6 p.m. So, the question is, in interest of the design and the functioning of it, there is always, while designing, there is always a conflict between openness of a program versus security of that project. So, the program shouldn't be that open that it's vulnerable for criminal thing, especially when we design things in an urban context. So, my question is, how are you planning to manage crime and security issues in city of Kozhikode after all this program implementation, when such influx of people are going to migrate there for this?
Is it, we could not hear you properly, but I think it's about gathering people and how do we secure, how do we create the amount of security at a larger city level when you have such a large gathering, at the art
Especially
festival.
when you have such open programs.
I understand the question like that. How do you have the security taken care of for a larger gathering? See, this we have the Asia's largest literature festival. 5 lakh people are coming. It is in the beach, so there is no need of security. It's open. Everybody can come and go. See, there is a famous saying. I don't know whether you have seen that. All the bookshops. There's a Istanbul, the street in Istanbul, or Iran, if I'm correct. Some social media post was there. All the books which are sold on street, they cover it. And they don't protect it, because if rainfall only they were, because those who want to steal a book will not read a book, right? So there is no issue of security, because if you start, everything is open. We are again underestimating the behavior of people. What will a person get if he steal a book? Nothing. And a person who want to steal a book will never steal it if he's a reader. And a reader will never steal a book. Both way did not happen. Those who doesn't read will not steal. Those who won't read will not steal. So now the school concept, what we told, na? Of course, library is there and open spaces are there in schools. Football grounds are there. Open space and plazas are there. Kerala is one of the unique state in India which has got so many old age population. Our demographic component is that only old age. We are the negative growth rate population in India. Kerala, okay. Very negative, old age population is very high. So most of these old age people will come there and sit in the school premises. Even schools are happening. We invite them and we allow them to sit and enjoy kids playing. So it's kind of a different social cultural domain we are trying to provide. Till date, to my understanding, there was no issue, because what an old age person will do. And also this infrastructure, schools will close after time, let people use it. Library will be open till 9 o'clock in the night. Newspapers can be read. Discussions and debate can happen in plaza space in the schools. So such things are happening. Till date, we have never had any problem of security issues. See, if there will be small minor problems, that the local level, they will solve it. Because even single security will be there, maybe 6 to 9 to take care of the library. He will lock and go. So these are small issues, if at all it happened, but it is not really affecting the problem. Instead, what is happening is that more and more schools are coming into this line. They're opening it up, the libraries, they're opening up the space, football grounds, other places, indoor games are open for public. Okay, and some control they are keeping on it. A small money can be paid as unique membership kind of thing, just to operate and pay somebody's salary kind of thing. Things are working on trust. That's my feeling. Till date, nothing has happened. Let's hope nothing will happen.
Okay, one last question. Should we entertain? Yeah, go ahead.
So my question is regarding creative economy, respectively. How can an independent creative in an economy
Can you repeat the question? Your question is, how can an independent survive?
How can an independent creatives
Okay.
people survive?
Individuals, you mean to say?
Individuals survive in an economy which is controlled by a bigger platform or bigger techs. So how can an individual or a creativity which an individual has, how can he survive in this competition?
That is the problem, and that is the problem we have to address. This is not just it's a very $1 million question. See, I told tomorrow if A. Rahman can be replaced with the music, okay, the entire music industry, you can also create the music you want. That is actually happening. Anything can be replaced, and creativity, that is the question, we are all addressing it. So my solution to that is experiential feeling cannot be replaced. See, a folklore music is being played here. I am sure human cannot be replaced, that people have to come there, you come and go, you travel, you eat food, this auditorium will have a rent, the folk person. So this kind of experiential creative component has to be focused, and tech related things of course can supplement them. Their music can be a AI created music, but the performer can be a real person only, because you are experiencing it live, you are touching and feeling it. So those kind of thing is what I am trying to say, that in the era of AI, we have to, because see, if you watch Switzerland on a documentary, you will never get the feel of visiting Switzerland, right? So you 3D, you're sitting in a 3D room and feeling Switzerland also, you will not get the feel. So there are certain things which I am sure AI cannot replace for next 20 years. I don't know what will happen after 20 years. They will make you sleep and take your mind and place there, probably then it will be a problem. Otherwise, feeling, experiencing, so that is something different. So AI, I'm sure, cannot replace that. But what you said is right. For example, a small individuals working on those things. So you have to identify alternate economic systems so that they are also taken into care. That's the only way what we can survive. Somebody talked about AutoCAD was there in the morning. Revit will replace. So that never can replace. We still have a say. We will have a say. We have to think one step ahead. That's the only way. Thank you.
I think we will, one more thing that I would like to add is, yes, the value that you create is the value, that you would sort of get, out of it. Should we entertain one more question, or? Okay, go ahead.
So my question is to Mohammed Feroz sir. Many creative city initiatives face gentrification issues, displacing local communities. So how can cities balance cultural branding with social communities?
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. So many creative cities initiatives face gentrification issues, displacing local communities. So how can cities balance cultural branding with social inclusivity?
Gentrification is a common problem. The moment you talk about tourism, gentrification is going to happen. Any European city, wherever you go, which is very good in tourism, they know how to sell their culture, they know how to brand, they are having a lot of creative component in the cities. Everywhere, to me, people are saying that why should we be afraid of gentrification? See, a heritage monument or a heritage building or a heritage zone, traditionally I was living there. Now the cost of living has increased. Now, but I still own that. Maybe my family will own it. I may move away because I don't get the feel of it because I've been living all my life there. So let me move out and elsewhere to the city. But that building remains it, and you and me going and staying there, beating for gentrification because of that only, that is open to you and me. Na? If he leaves there, there's no value creation for you and me to see it. So for me, gentrification is something which you don't need to be truly worried about. Maybe there will be difference in opinion. People may say that I am wrong. I may be wrong also. But I don't think we should be really worried about it because it gives an economic opportunity for the original person to get that. But what you said is right. There are points. For example, I'm a vulnerable person. I don't own anything there, but I've been living there. Because the rental value increases, the dimension of the city increases, the area becomes branded as a thing, then I cannot afford to live. If that is the case, it's a serious problem. But from a researcher's angle, from an individual angle, I don't know. I don't have an answer for it. Maybe the city administration should think of is a solution for gentrification. There are issues with gentrification, such issues. For example, I live there, but I have nothing, I cannot live anymore there because the cost of living is higher. If I'm staying in a rental house, because it is no more affordable, then there are problem of gentrification. This is the problem for all tourist towns. Anywhere in the world, this is a problem as of now. The only way is that maybe they have to move out for alternative areas where there is, that is economic impact, because wherever there is economic development, the cost of living increase, the development will increase, so some people will get affected. Maybe some social security system has to work out, kind of thing. I don't know an answer for it. I'm sorry, but like you also, I'm also puzzled what is the answer for it. But it's a very good question. I don't know what is the answer for gentrification prevention.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I think that was a wonderful participation as well from the students. I am sure, applying artificial intelligence in the urban realm also brings us to deviate from our conventional practices of architecture, what we've been trained to. But I'm sure this track definitely, kept up to the theme, and it did not even, it did explore the impact of AI on built environment, but also on the unbuilt. So thank you so much to all the three presenters. May I call Meera ma'am to felicitate the presenters, please. Yeah, and Ira sir, please.
Check.
May we have Shivani Sharma ma'am?
Check one. Check.
Okay, a round of applause for Shivani ma'am. Can we have Dr. Jyoti Jain Todia? Dr. Muhammad Feroz, please. Okay, thank you, Eja sir. Thank you, Meera ma'am. Thank you to all the three presenters.
We hope this discussion fosters new ideas and initiatives that contribute to the future of urban design and development. Thank you all for your participation and enthusiasm. Thank you. For the refreshments, please head outside, and after that the freshers would start.
Hello, hello, hello.